June 2014, paper 1. Question number 1, estimate the value. So we need to round each number and then work out the answer. So 43 is roughly 40, 49 is roughly 50, and then we're dividing by 200. So this is 2000 divided by 200. Cancel the noughts, 200 divided by 2. So the estimate is 100. Estimate the value of this. Well, the one on the top is roughly 1 and the one on the bottom is roughly a half. So how many halves go into 1? The answer is 2. Given this, find the exact value of the following. So count how many decimal points numbers come after the decimal point in the question. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the answer needs to be 4. These must be the numbers in the answer. And if we have to have 4 point numbers after the point, we have to put the decimal point between the 3 and the 9. So similar sort of process for this one, but I'm going to use estimate instead. I know the numbers have to be 7, 3, 2. Possibly with a point, possibly with some zeros, but I know that much. I'm going to estimate, this is about 40,000 divided by a half. So how many halves go into 40,000? Well, it would be 80,000. To make this number roughly 80,000, I'm going to have to put 2 zeros on the end. Write down the value of 1 half of 3 1/2. So this means a half times 3 1/2. Turn this into an improper fraction, which gives us 7 over 2. So 3 2s are 6 plus the 1 is 7. So then this gives us, and then when we times these together, we get 7 over 4 as the value of half of 3 1/2. Question 2, draw the scatter diagram. Already drawn the scatter diagram. Just answer the questions that go with it now. So, write down the type of correlation. They are going in this direction, so it is a positive correlation. Again, draw by eye a line of best fit. So take a ruler and go as close as you can to each of the points with a few above and a few below. Not a great line of best fit in this case because the scatter diagram is not that great. Estimate the amount of money taken during 6,100. So 6,100 would be here, and we draw a line across to there, which gives us £380. Again, depending on your line of best fit, they will give you slightly different amounts. Explain why it is not possible to work out how much a typical ice cream costs. It's not possible because the scatter diagram shows us how much money is made and how many people attended. It doesn't actually tell us how many people bought ice creams, so we can't work out what the price would be. Question 3. So the first part of this, my shape is a kite. So just by the side, just remind yourself of what a kite looks like. One of the diagonals is shown. Well, the diagonals are these lines that cut the shape in half. One of the vertices at -5, 4. So -5, 4 will be this point here. Now, if this shape has to be here, and that line must represent this large diagonal, so I'm definitely going to have to join the points up here and here to begin my kite, and therefore 2 other vertices must be this point here, -1, 4, and also this point down here, which is -7, -2. To find the other one, I'm going to look at my kite in this direction. So I'm going to come across from here, and I'm going to go the exact same distance that way, and that will complete my kite. So that therefore is the kite, and you can see that the last point is at -1, 0. Part B, similar strategy to be used. So my shape is a rhombus, so remind yourself what a rhombus is. A rhombus is a pushed over square. Shorter diagonal is shown, so again there are 2 diagonals and they've shown the shorter one, so the shorter one has to be the one between the 2 closest sides, so that diagonal there. So I'm going to redraw my diagram in the opposite direction just so that I say and then get it wrong. So this is obviously the diagonal going in that direction, so there must be another diagonal going across here that will then help me draw the shape. The other diagonal is twice as long. So this is the midpoint of that line, and currently it's 2 squares above and 2 squares below. So when I go in the opposite direction, it's going to have to be double that length. Now you could use a ruler and just measure this. You can see that line is 2 centimeters, so my new line needs to be 4 centimeters. And it needs to be perfectly parallel, so it has to go right through the middle, and it has to be twice the length, and that becomes the next diagonal. So now I've got the 2 diagonals. If I just join these up, I will find my rhombus that I'm looking for. So there, and then there, and there. So I now have the rhombus, and they just ask for the 4 vertices, so just work your way around. So we get -1, 5, we get 4, 5, we get 7, 1, and we also have 2, 1 as the 4 corners. Question 4, the areas are equal, find the value of x. So the area of a trapezium is done by a half times a plus b times h. Remember, that's given to you on the front page of the exam paper. So this is a half times 6 plus 10 times 5. So this is a half of 16 times 5. So that's 8 times 5. So the area is 40 centimeters squared. The area of this is also 40 centimeters squared, so I can say that 40 is equal to base times height divided by 2. So 40 is equal to 10 times x divided by 2. Take the 2 over, we get 80 is equal to 10 times x. Divide by 10, we get that 8 is equal to x. Question 5. There are 4 boys in class A, so that is worth 4. You can see clearly that must be a quarter of the circle, so if a quarter is worth 4, the other 3 quarters must be worth 12. There are 1.5 times as many girls in class B than class A, so 12 times 1.5 is 18, so there are 18 girls over here. How many boys are there? Again, you should be able to see that this is 2/3, so if 2/3 are worth 18, 1/3 will be worth 9, so the answer is there are 9 boys in that class. The lovely page of algebra that comes up every time. So, collect the x's on one side, the numbers on the other side. 6x subtract 4x equals -13 plus 27. So 2x equals 14, so x equals 7. Solve this one. Get the number out of the way first, so we get x divided by 2 equals 26 minus 18. So x divided by 2 equals 8, and then take the 2 over and multiply, so x equals 16. Factorise this, we have a y common in both, so y times y makes y squared, and y times 5 makes 5y. Expand, so the opposite process, so y cubed plus 4y. Solve the inequality, works exactly the same way as the equation. Take the -6 over there, so we get 5x is less than 30 plus 6, so 5x is less than 36, so x is less than 36 divided by 5, so x is less than, work out how many 5's go into 36, which is 7 and 1/5 left over. Question 7, find the nth term of the black circles and the white circles. So the black circles have a pattern of 1, 4, 9. Hopefully you would spot that that is n squared, because this is the square numbers, so there will be n squared. If you couldn't spot that, you would say, well, there's a difference of 3 there, difference of 5 there, so we have to look at a second difference of 2. That tells us the pattern has to be n squared, and then how do I get from 1 to 1? Well, I do nothing, and this would be pattern 2, so 2 squared would be 4, so I'm already there. White circles follow the same pattern, use the same method. So the white circles go in a pattern 3, 5, 7. Look at the gaps, so it's 2, 2, so straight away I know it must be 2n, and then how do I get from 2 to 3? I add 1, so it's 2n plus 1. Question 8, parallel lines, find the angle C in terms of A and B. So I'm going to say that this angle in here must be 180 minus C, because these two are on a straight line. I know that this angle down here must also be B because of parallel lines. So there's an F there which tells me that's B. Now I need to find an equation that has C, A and B involved. Now I'm going to use the fact that there's a triangle here. So because this is a triangle, I know that this angle here from the triangle must be 180 minus A from the top minus this other corner here, B. So I've now got two expressions for that angle there, so they must be equal to each other. So I can say 180 minus A minus B is equal to 180 minus C. Rearrange this so we get C on its own and positive. So take the 180 over first, so we get 180 minus 180 minus A minus B equals minus C. Well, they leave 0. Now I want the C positive, so C is going to go that way and these two are going to go that way. So I'm going to get C equals A plus B, and I now have angle C in terms of A and B.